Today we're going to practice a yoga sequence that should help you to feel balanced and calm. So we're going to start with some basics about positioning. So ideally you're going to be practicing in a firm chair that you can eventually get in and out of easily when you need to. We're going to complete the practice seated, but you need to be secure, stable and comfortable. Just about honouring how you feel today. So if there's any areas of tension or discomfort or any parts of your body that you perhaps need to be a little bit more careful or gentle with today, I'm going to ask you to honour that throughout the practice. Everybody is slightly different and we need to listen to what our needs are on each particular day. So we're going to be comfortable and we're going to listen to our bodies. And we're going to think about positioning. So once you've found your comfortable, sturdy chair, you want to have your feet flat on the floor. And if your feet don't quite reach, that might be about, because we're going to stay seated, it might be about putting a block underneath your feet. So feet firmly planted down towards the floor. And we want to think about having the feet about hip width apart. So a little gap between the feet, and they're facing forwards as much as you can. Comfortably. And then we want to think about the position of your knees. They also want to be about hip width apart, so a little gap between them. And we want to think about your sitting bones. So that's the bones in your bottom. And we're going to think about pressing your sitting bones just slightly in towards your chair. So you might have to have a little wiggle to find them and work out what I'm talking about. And then get your sitting bones so that they are just pressing slightly into the chair. And as you do that, you'll feel a little bit of engagement in your tummy muscles. So once you've got that, I'd just like you to think a little bit more about your position, and we want to think about having right angles. So we want a right angle here at the front of your feet. So we don't want the feet too far forwards because then we're not using them with the right kind of pressure, and we don't want them too far back because again then we might be putting the wrong kind of pressure on the knees. So nice right angles at the ankles and at the back of the knees, and also here at the front of the hips. Once we've got that nice solid foundation, the bottom half of the body, so from about your belly button down, is pressing down towards the chair and the floor. We want to think about lifting up through the top half of the body. So a little bit of a lift at the centre of the chest and also at the crown of the head. Imagine there's a little bit of string at the crown of your head, and you're going to draw that string up towards the ceiling or the sky, and then let the shoulders come down away from the ears. Rest your hands somewhere comfortable on your lap or the arms of the chair, and let the shoulders relax. We'll just take a few breaths here. Sometimes it feels nice to close your eyes and let your awareness come inwards. I'm just going to invite you to take a couple of breaths here. If it feels nice, it feels good for you today, you can take the breath in through your nose and then slowly out through your mouth. I'm just going to invite you to keep that going for a few breaths. And as you take those few comfortable, easy breaths, just seeing if you can bring your awareness to the here and now, to your body now. So letting go of thoughts of anything that might have happened before you sat down, anything that might be happening later, just having that awareness on how you feel in this moment. Lovely. If you do still have your eyes closed, you might want to gently blink them open now, and we're going to start to move. So feet are pressing down towards the floor, sitting bones towards the chair, lifting up through the chest and the crown of the head, shoulders away from the ears, that imaginary piece of string at the crown of the head lifting you up. We're going to breathe in here, and then within your level of comfort, we're going to take the ear towards the shoulder. So you get a gentle stretch in the opposite side of the neck here. And then as you breathe in, you're going to come back to centre, and we're going to breathe out and take it the other way. Breathing in back to centre again. And we're just going to take that once more to each side. Take it nice and easy, following the pattern of your breath. And then back to centre. And depending on how much space you've got around you, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the hands up onto the shoulders if that's comfortable. If it's not, you can leave your hands resting on your thighs. But if you've got the hands on the shoulders, you're going to have the elbows slightly out to the side. Relax the shoulders away from the ears as much as you can. We're just going to think about drawing little circles with those elbows. Now, if there are any areas of discomfort within your shoulders, those circles might be really small, or you might be leaving your hands down and making the circles with your shoulders rather than your elbows. And your circles might look a bit different on either side, and that's okay. We're going to reverse it, so you take that movement in the opposite direction. And then release and letting the shoulders. We're going to bring the hands together at the heart centre. So just at the centre of the chest, your thumbs are just sort of resting on the front of your breastbone there. Relax the shoulders away from the ears and just pause here for a moment as you let the shoulders down. Think about the feet and the sitting bones coming down towards the floor. Think about that nice lift up through the chest and the crown of the head. So just pause in here for a moment, noticing the breath. And then we're going to bring the elbows so that you tuck the elbows slightly in towards your sides. And we're going to have the palms facing forwards with the fingers pointing up towards the ceiling. So we've got a little bit of a stretch through the wrists there. You're going to breathe in here and then breathe in and point the fingers down. And breathe in and lift the fingers. Breathe in and point them down. And if it feels good, we'll just do that one more time. Lovely. Then we're going to make fists with the hands and just rotate at the wrists a little bit. Now, sometimes there might be some sound effects, creaking or cracking. As long as nothing hurts, that's okay. And then we'll take it the other way. Obviously, if something does hurt, you're going to stop straight away. Lovely. And then shake that out a little bit, so have a little bit of a wiggle. Okay. We're going to place the hands on the thighs. Just reconnect with feet, sitting bones, that little bit of tone in the tummy, relaxing the shoulders, placing the hands on the thighs. We're going to work through a cat pose. So as you breathe in, we're going to lift the chest. And then maybe if your neck is comfortable, you can look slightly upwards. And then as you breathe out, we're coming back to center. So we're just straightening the back and looking straight ahead. We're going to keep that going with the breath. So as you breathe in, lifting the chest, looking slightly upwards. And as you breathe out, coming back to center. One more. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out, back to center, looking straight ahead. Relax the hands down, have a little bit of a wiggle of the shoulders. And then, depending on the arms of your chair, you might like to take the arms to the side or either side of your legs. And then we're going to take your right hand across to your left thigh. You're going to breathe in here and lift up through the crown of the head. Imagine that little bit of string, that imaginary string again. And as you breathe out, you're going to turn to look over your left shoulder, just as far as feels comfortable for you today. Breathe in back to center. Breathe out and release the hand. You can take your left hand over to your right thigh. Again, breathe in and lift, a little bit of tone in the tummy there, and breathe out and turn to the right. Breathe in and back to center. Breathe out to release. Once more to each side. Take your right hand to your left thigh. Breathe in and lift nice and tall. Breathe out and turn. Breathe in back to center. Breathe out and release. Left hand to right thigh. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and turn to the right. Breathe in back to center. And breathe out and release. Again, have a little bit of a wiggle. Roll the shoulders. Maybe wiggle the toes a little bit and come back to center. Okay, so we're going to work down the body. We've started at the top, we've got to about the middle, we're going to keep going. One foot is going to stay nice and firmly rooted down on the floor. You can lift the other one up slightly and interlace the fingers at the back of the thigh. Have a little bit of tone in the tummy. Now, if it's not comfortable to lift that leg all the way up off the floor, you can keep your toe on the floor, okay, and complete the movement in the same way. But if you can, we're going to lift it slightly. We're going to draw a little circle with this knee, just a little circle, taking care of any issues in your hips at all. Work with what feels comfortable and you know is safe for you. And then we'll take that circle in the opposite direction. And then we'll come back to center. And we're going to keep hold of the leg if you can, but you can always take a breather and pop it down. And we're just going to push away through the heel so that your leg stretches away. You don't have to straighten the leg, be careful with that knee joint, but just pushing away a little bit and then lower it down. And we're going to do that 3 times. So you're going to push away and lower it down. And one more, push away and lower it down. Again, if you can, we're going to keep hold of the leg and we're going to move straight down into an ankle roll. So as if you're drawing a circle with your toes this time. And then we're going to circle around the other way. All the time, just trying to keep the chest lifted. And we'll come back to center and lower that foot down. We're going to stay with that foot. And you're just going to wiggle your toes a little bit there. And if you can, we're going to breathe in and scrunch the toes up and then breathe out and let them release. We're going to do that a couple of times. Scrunch the toes and release. And just one more. Scrunch and release. That's one side. Maybe just pause here and notice if you can feel the difference between one leg and the other. Then reconnect with your feet and your sitting bones and that little bit of tone in the tummy. That leg we've just worked, you're going to push that foot into the floor as you lift the other side. Again, interlace the fingers at the back of the thigh, and if it's not comfortable to hold the leg up, you can always pop the toes on the floor. Relax the shoulders, lift up through the chest, and little circles with the knee. And the other way. Come back to center, take a breather if you need to, otherwise we're going to push away through that heel and release. If you want to work with the breath here, you can breathe in as you push away and breathe out as you lower. And we'll do it 3 times, so one more, push away, feel the stretch down the back of the leg and then release. Again, take a breather if you need to, otherwise we're drawing those circles with the toes, one way and the other way, so we're rotating the ankle. And we'll come back to center and lower that foot down. So we're going to come into the toes again. So as you breathe in, you're going to scrunch the toes up on this side and then breathe out and release. And again, scrunch just with the toes and release. One more, scrunch and release. And then just have a little bit of a wiggle. Move around a little bit, relax the shoulders and pause. So we've warmed up the whole body, worked through everywhere. Just take a moment, pause. It might feel nice to close your eyes. And just notice how your body feels. Lovely. We're going to move into our first yoga posture now. So on your chair, you might need to come just a little bit further forward. And then we're going to widen the knees a little bit. As you do this, we're going to keep those right angles. So you want the right angle at the front of the ankles, the back of the knees, and we've still got that right angle at the hips. And just the feet are a little bit wider, maybe as wide as the chair legs if that feels okay for your hips. And your feet and your knees are going to point in the same direction. Because we've widened the knees a little bit, there's a bit of an angle there. So just peeking over the knee and making sure your toes are pointing in the same direction as your knees. Press down through the sitting bones, a little bit of tone in the tummy, relax the shoulders. And then we're going to take the arms out at shoulder height if that feels comfortable. So you're going to stretch away from fingertip to fingertip, relax the shoulders away from the ears, stretch so that you feel a comfortable stretch across the chest and the shoulders. And then First of all, you're going to turn your head to the left, just to look over the left shoulder. As long as your neck feels comfortable with that, you can stay looking straight ahead if that's better for you. Then you're going to come back to center, lower the arms for a moment, roll the shoulders, take a minute. And if it feels good, we'll go again. So we take the arms out at shoulder height, stretch away through the fingertips. Turn to look over the right shoulder. And then back to center. And again, lower the arms, have a bit of a wiggle with the shoulders, bring the feet in, back to hip width, and maybe take a little shuffle back in your chair. Okay, get that strong foundation again. We're going to take the hands onto the hips. So we've still got that nice pressure down through the feet and the sitting bones, and that little bit of tone in the tummy, relaxing the shoulders away, hands to hips. Now, there's two options here. You can keep your hands on your hips, or if it feels comfortable for your shoulders, you can take one arm up into the air, breathe in here, and then as you breathe out, you're going to stretch over towards your bent elbow. We're going to breathe in back to center, breathe out as you release the arm, take it back to the hip, and the same thing on the other side. So we take one arm up into the air, breathe in here, breathe out and stretch over towards your bent elbow, breathe in back to center, breathe out and release. So if you were going to keep the hands on the hips, you'd just breathe in here, breathe out and stretch one way, breathe in back to center, and breathe out and stretch the other way. Breathe in back to center. And then we will release that. We're going to come into a pose called chair pose. We're already in a chair, but we're going to work our abdominal muscles a little bit with this one. So keep your feet nice and firmly rooted down. Keep that awareness in your sitting bones, keep that tone in the tummy. And I'm going to invite you to take your arms just a little bit in front of you, maybe up to shoulder height if that feels good. And we're going to come forwards a little bit, so a little bit of angle on the body. Keep that tone in the tummy and look straight ahead. And then we'll come back, lower the arms, relax the shoulders. Perhaps just give that one more go if it feels good. So as you breathe in, the arms come up, fingers pointing straight ahead, about shoulder height if that feels good. And you're just going to stretch away so your body comes slightly forwards, bit of an angle at the hips, and you're looking straight ahead. And then breathe in back to center, release the arms, have a little wiggle with the shoulders. And we're going to move into a gentle back bend, very similar to one of the warm-up exercises that we did. So when you're ready, we're going to place the hands on the thighs again, a bit of tone in the tummy, and we're going to lift through the chest. Breathing in, lifting through the chest, just like we did earlier, looking slightly upwards as long as your neck's happy with that. And then breathe out and come back to center, looking straight ahead. Perhaps one more, so you breathe in, lift the chest, look slightly upwards, a little bit of tone in the tummy there. And then breathe out, nice straight back, looking straight ahead again. Again, pause, have a little bit of a wiggle. So we're going to bring the hands together at the heart center for this position. Relax the shoulders. And if it feels good for your shoulders, I'm just going to invite you to lift the hands very slightly. So you're lifting the thumbs to just in between your eyebrows here. And you can touch if that feels good, or you can hold the hands a bit further away. We're just going to breathe here and have that awareness at the center of your eyebrows. Nice, comfortable, easy breaths. In through the nose if that feels good. Maybe slowly out through the mouth. As you really focus on the center of the eyebrows. Once you've completed 2 or 3 breaths in this way, we're going to lower the hands back down again. Release, relax the shoulders. And just take a moment just to notice the position of your body. So we're pressing down through the feet, pressing down through the sitting bones, a little bit of tone in the tummy, and that lift through this little invisible bit of string at the crown of your head. Relax the shoulders. And this time, the invitation is to take your awareness to the very crown of the head, where that little bit of invisible string is coming from. And again, it might feel nice to close your eyes. Comfortable breath in and out. Just really aware of the top of your head, the crown of the head. Again, once you've had 2 or 3 breaths in this way, blink the eyes back open, release the shoulders, have a bit of a wiggle. And we're just going to take a very gentle forward bend. Be a little bit careful with the forward bends if there's any issues with your heart or your blood pressure, or perhaps pressure in the eyes, depending on what time of year it is, hay fever or sinusy things. You don't want to take yourself too far forwards if that's an issue. So we're going to go forwards to about 45 degrees, which would hopefully be all right for everybody. And then there's an option to come a bit further if you know it's okay. Take hands on the hips. Be aware of the feet and the sitting bones, so the lower half of the body really pressing down towards the earth. A little bit of tone in the tummy. Hands on hips, nice tall lift through the back. And then just starting to hinge forwards. So you're going to take your gaze with you. So as you start to come down, you'll be looking towards the floor a little way ahead of you. And we'll go, like I said, about halfway, 45 degrees. And then if it feels good, you can rest your elbows on your thighs. Pause here and see how that feels. If you know that it's comfortable for you to take your head a little bit further, you're welcome to bring the hands down the front of the legs and bring your chest towards your thighs. The 2 parts may not meet, that's okay, but just heading in that direction for a gentle stretch through the lower back. Again, having a breath here. And when you're ready, we're going to come back up. I'm going to invite you, if you have come down, to pop those elbows back on your thighs first, and then come up nice and slowly. Just slight tuck of the chin towards the chest, and then your head comes up very last of all. Take a moment, roll the shoulders, have a wiggle. Arms back down by the sides of the body for a gentle twist. Right hand comes over to left thigh. Breathe in, lift up really tall, tone in the tummy. Breathe out and turn to the left. Breathe in back to center. Release the hand. Left hand comes to right thigh. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and turn to the right. Breathe in back to center. Release. Come to a comfortable seated position. Have a bit of a wiggle. And that completes our physical practice. Just going to invite you to sit back a little bit in your chair now, so that you can use the back of the chair for a bit of support if you need to. Relax the shoulders and place the hands somewhere comfortable. So that might be on the thighs, it might be on the arm of the chair, it might be with the hands in the lap. We're still going to try and keep a nice upright position as we just focus on the breath for a few moments. Invitation is to bring the breath in through the nose and slowly out through the mouth. And you might feel comfortable to close your eyes while you do that. It's a nice, comfortable, easy breath in through the nose. Nice, long, slow breath out through the mouth. And then you can let the awareness on the breath fade a little bit as you really relax into your chair. So just noticing where the chair and the ground are supporting you. Noticing the floor beneath your feet, the chair beneath your legs and your back. And just still that very slight lift through the crown of the head, but everything else as relaxed as you possibly can. You might find that you can use your out breath to help you relax. So you think about breathing in a feeling of relaxation and breathing out any tension that remains in the body. Might feel nice to just take the shoulders up towards the ears and then let them back down again. Eyes softly closed, breath flowing comfortably in and out. And then just starting to perhaps be a little bit more aware of your surroundings again. So let's have a little wriggle of the fingers, of the toes, noticing sounds you might be able to hear around you. Maybe have a roll of the shoulders. Might feel nice to have a bit of a stretch or a yawn. And if you haven't already, just blinking the eyes back open again. Have a little flutter of your eyelashes. And we're ready for the rest of the day. Thank you for sharing this practice with me. I hope you've enjoyed it.